Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining Archangel Alts. And here we are for our market watch for April 24th, 2019, 2:24 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I just noticed this sudden rise that was starting to perk up again here with IOTX. The timing is ironic and interesting. We have some recent positions. We're hoping that this is going to get to them. The recent drop in the market has been absolutely painful. In my opinion, it's been the worst drop that there has been. And there have been steeper ones, there have been quicker ones, but this one has kind of starved the hope out of the March Madness move. And I think that it can rebuild from here. I absolutely do. But what I'm noticing is disturbing about this one is a lot of people putting the blinders on in the altcoin communities. They're kind of like not seeing the forest for the trees, and I'm concerned that this is going to shake loose a lot of people for good. So, I hope I'm wrong, but and I see that I have the time wrong on this. I'm going to see if I can adjust that real quick. Yes, I shall. Okay, that should update that. I'm actually going to refresh the video and see if that helps things already or if it takes a while. Yeah, okay, it automatically updates. That's good. It's good. It's good. So, it is an important detail because as I'm showing the update on what's happening on the market, I want to make sure that if somebody wanted to reference it sometime in the future, that the numbers lined up. So now 2:26 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Very good. So seeing it falter, kind of coming down hard towards the 245, 246 resistance there. We actually want to see it break towards 300 if it can, and you can see that that's where the stair stepping down became an issue. This was like on the 15-minute candles. This was one of those indicators that the volume was thinning out. This really didn't mean anything. Yes, it was down for a longer period of time, but it went up harder. So this is really where the problem began. You can see that this is a much steeper decline, and it happened while volume was dropping. So it wasn't a hard sell-off to be followed by a good buy-in. It was just tapering off. And all of these things, it happened at the right time in the stock RSI for it to go down, happened at the right time for the MACD for it to go down. It was just generally not a super happy thing. But we have from about 257 to 272 that it bought back up. So once again, things were looking pretty good here, but our volume just did not scale, and that's really the main issue, is that volume is just not happening on the market at all, and that's really what's killing some of these coins that are heading in a good direction. So this is a super strong positive sign, but I'm not seeing enough of that in enough places. Let me see if this means that, yeah, there's that same spike. So kind of a pumpy sort of kind of spike thing going on here. Yeah, so that's what I thought. We sold our 36 to 38. That's good. So that was went from about, let's just pretend these are dollars, 189 to 199. So can't complain about that for such a small investment. Smaller risks, but decent rewards. So in fact, not so sure I shouldn't go ahead and put it. I was joking with myself that there'd be the irony that we'd probably, last time I did a very short live day trading video, the volume was just dropping so quickly on everything. I decided that I would just stick with the analysis at that point. And so, I mean, that was funny, but now this being a market analysis video, is just as likely that I have the instinct that I want to pop in on these positions. So do the exact opposite of what the video is saying. So we might start to see the turnaround, but I'm telling you, these low positions are really, really low. So I am going to start, well, okay, Raven is like probably the one exception to everything. What is this in the, yeah, like January and February. Okay, so I'm going to start at the start. Here's the fantastic news part of it, and you can see Raven was actually tracking with this. So you're going to find that kind of interesting. So we are heading once again towards the 5,600. And I'm going to make sure. Yep. Okay, we're set up on the right screen. Good. So, obviously, if we're looking for here a bull, there a bull, everywhere a bull, if anybody's telling you it's a bull market, it is bull. Meaning that no, this is not the turnaround. This is not the bear market. Really, what we are looking at is a 5 or 6 month recovery. Let's see, December, January, February, March, April. Yeah, about 5 months in to a recovery from the hard fork chaos disaster that has really still sent shakes through the industry to this day. So it doesn't take a lot for the sensitivity to kick in on the market, and that's certainly what we're seeing. So 199 million 24-hour volume measured in Tether USDT. Not a bad thing, but it is coming down. And so what we really want to see is steady up with steady volume. At some point in time, that sends the right signal. And I mean, I'm not saying that it takes massive amounts of volume in Bitcoin in order to signal the right trading signals to the altcoins. But what I am saying is that a steady up should at some point reflect a steady up, meaning that a steady up in value should reflect a steady up in volume. And if those two are not in sync with each other, eventually one of those starts to fail. If there's too much volume, I mean, it's fairly logical why the alternatives would be a bad thing. But just think about it for a second. If the volume is continuing to go up, but the value is going down, then that can only mean one thing, that people are selling it off more. Okay, it's just I'm not stating anything really, and you should already understand that. There's nothing strange about that aspect of things. But what is strange, if you start to have the value going down gradually and the amount of volume is going down, then obviously what's happening is there's not enough people buying, and there's not enough interest in rebuying in until it reaches a certain point. So that's exactly what's going to happen. At some time in the future, it'll reach a certain point where people see the value in buying back in. Now, the bots will probably buy in at 0.5%, 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. So you'll see stair stepping absolutely no matter what happens. And some people will have, automatic limit or buy orders, different things triggered. So you're always going to see a little bit of that. This could probably be one of those examples right here. Depending on whether people are doing things for swing trades or weekly, bi-weekly, they're going to look for certain patterns. The more aggressive ones, using, modern timed bots that say, every time it reaches this percentage or that percentage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you see some of that effect. But if it's going up and the volume is going up, then eventually, that does start to reconnect when the alts have gone down as low as they've gone, that it finally sends that signal, that this is no longer taking away from that volume, but there's plenty of Bitcoin to buy and sell and go around. Bitcoin goes high enough that's eventually going to mean that it is, going high so contrary to the alts that there's a huge range of profit and a greatly reduced risk in order to try to grab that profit. So while things are still on the low side, so you are in the know and others are to and fro, we had only four things in the green, and that's coming up from what's been a 20-30% drop over days. It's just been absolutely painful. But now we have a few more greens, and like Key just popped 2 positions very quickly, so that's really good. Yeah, this recent little thing right here, that's exactly why we went in the way that we did. That's exactly why we went in when we did. And you can see we bought at 53, and I'm looking to, 54 is a good profit, because you're getting more than 1% just to move one position. The thing is that there's such a high risk in that position, it's not really worth risking your circulation in order to get there. So I don't think we've triggered any sales there. You know what? I'm going to force myself to have the discipline to just stick with the task at hand and not get stirred off course by wanting to trade so terribly badly right now. So just showing you the top ones. Part of what you'll notice about this, first of all, they're not just in a single value range. You have things that are worth 4 cents, 43 cents, 96 cents, almost a penny, 34 cents, almost a penny, $1.82, 6 cents. Okay, so you can understand what I'm saying here. So things are starting to pop. This is absolutely the time to consider looking at stuff. Hold on for a second. All right, positive. I appreciate it. So IOST, you can see we just barely missed each of these, and that was painful. So we have to go over our positions when we do this stuff. So we're looking at 4-6. So this is our only new hodl that I'm aware of. Goes to 4-6. When this was higher up there, we knowing how close it actually was, we actually cleared the positions that were stuck in the browser version. This should have already switched over. Yeah, you can see that it was up in this range, and it's really kind of hard to get a feel for just how logical that position seemed at the time. But it did not track the volume at that time. That's really kind of where it went wrong. Once you're in, you can't do anything about the volume. But you always feel foolish if you, in retrospect, end up getting stuck at the top. And I would say maybe 10 out of the, like 50, 60 few times out of thousands and thousands that we've ever gotten stuck has been one of those situations. So, if you look at it in one more, come on, just one, why you got us up there? Okay. If you look at it, purely in this perspective, you can see with this being a reflection of this, it's going extremely quickly up, which means that you could very easily expect somewhere around the 280, 290 range for it to take another up. So 280 is not really all that extreme of an expectation, but the 300s, 400s before that, it's still less than half of the peak that we saw over there. So it's really quite a similar representation of what we saw around the same time last year. So still, miles further up to go. This is definitely that point in time for it to do such a thing. But really overall, there's not really a whole lot of reason for me to go deep into detail for all of these. Steam really should be able to break the 1,000 and be in the 1,100 range. So the fact that it's gone from the 9 to the 8 to the 7 to the 6, that just gives you a feel for just how bad this drop has been. It's really cumulatively been another 40-50%, and at a time where the optimism is picking up, the bull run shill is out there and about there. So the bad news is for any positions that you're holding, they're getting pushed pretty heavily down. But the good news, meaning that down is where you want to buy. So if you're not already into something, these are some good positions to consider. Encash is a great example because it has been so challenging when you have something that is regularly, here we are in the 40s. But I mean, look at how low the lows. The lowest it's ever been is 33. So if you're wanting to call a bottom, that absolutely is a bottom. Yeah. So right here is barely anything in comparison. This was, just looking back to September, I guess, and you're talking, almost 3x, and it's still low in comparison to what it's done in the past. Now, I mean, if you're an extreme long holder, I wouldn't really recommend holding out until 100 because there's no telling if it's going to do that, and you risk very low volume. This was next to nothing in volume for the past several days, so we called a low a couple of different times. It still had a little bit more room to go. I think that key is going to bounce into the same range. I mean, it literally just did 51 to 53, which is really tough for a small value. But it's been in the 20-30 BTC range, which is about as low as that goes. And you can see that it's, still 93% loss of value. So we're trying to catch things on the floor and almost underneath the floorboards as low as it goes. XVG should be able to hit the 170 range. It might take some time, but that's really towards its normal low end. If there is a regular for any of this stuff, 5,700 up to 7,200 for waves is kind of normally where it should be able to go. Unfortunately, IOTX is not making it this round again. But let's see, it was at 223. Yeah, it looks like it's headed straight down there again. So very, very, very brief pump on that. But it did get the volume up, and people looked at that as an indicator. So let's cover the ones of interest that I'm sure everybody is wondering about. And this is just good for having a record for things, for sure. Ethereum, doing exactly the same thing. It's actually coming down a little bit harder than one might expect right now. People are putting stuff out there saying, that it's got another 10x coming and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah. Show me the evidence there. That'll be fine. Litecoin getting hurt, and with the amount of up that Litecoin has had recently, that just lets you know how bad this actually is. Gonna go over to here. So yes, once again, the good news is, you're looking for the right low to buy in, but if the market's not cautious and the volume doesn't reappear sometime very soon in the very near future, it's more of a scare off, and that actually hurts everything in the long term. So just keep your eyes open, wait for the bottom, and don't get overly greedy. Grab a % or 2, maybe even 3. We're sticking towards, the lower side of that to try to increase the rate of our circulation again. So, for right now, we've been having to play it very cautiously because you start kind of dipping into the circulation if you try to push for the midterm too long. So just keep your eyes open. I hope you find this interesting. As always, please feel free to ask us questions and join our group, subscribe, ring the bell, comment, thumbs up. Make sure and come join the webinar, sign up, and we'll keep you in the loop. We want you as part of our community. You are the voice that is missing. So we're looking to grow this crypto revolution. And remember, mass adoption comes from liquidity. Liquidity comes from trading on a legitimate exchange. We choose Binance. All right. God bless you guys. For now, Archangel Alts out.